Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dream Nexus podcast. I'm your host, Chris Abert. This episode is brought to you by Connector and is to help promote the upcoming Fall Up Festival, December 1st and 2nd at 2720 Cherokee in St. Louis. On this episode, I have Mark Murphy of Wookiefoot sitting down. They are the headlining act at the Fall Up Festival, so stay tuned and check out the conversation with Mark. Thank you. All right, so yeah, what have you been up to lately, man? Like the past couple months or something like that. Fill in people who are wanting to tune in right now and checking out what's going on with Fall Up and everything.
Well, for us, we've just been on our fall tour, and it's just been an incredible ride. It's strange after all these years of doing it. You kind of think it's I don't know, the ride's going to end or it's going to be not as fun, and it just keeps getting more and more exciting, and the show keeps getting better, and I don't know, the relationship with fans and the community just keeps getting better. I have no complaints. It's been really wonderful.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you guys shows. It always seems like you have just as much fun as everybody else. So that's awesome.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
I almost feel guilty about that sometimes.
Yeah. No, that's half of it too. That is like the fun part. Like all the work is like, I'm not saying it's not work. Don't get me wrong, but like that's where you get to kind of have more of the fun, all the recording and the writing and the driving everywhere and all the other background work that's where it's, a lot of it's intense too. So that's what I've heard from other musicians and stuff when they're on stage. It's like, that's the fun part.
Oh, it really is. It's totally coming to fruition. But I've always joked that if I didn't have to haul gear, like tear down and set up, I would play music for free my entire life. I feel like I'm just getting paid to carry things around.
Yeah. I've heard that too.
It's so
Yeah. So we got Fall Up coming up here. How was your experience last time at Fall Up?
Oh my God, that's one of our favorite of the whole year.
Yeah.
It's awesome this year, the final weekend of our fall tour. It's such a great way to end the tour because that community, I don't know there's some magic in that community, that St. Louis community, and especially at that location, that venue has got some magic to it too. It's just, from the first time we set foot in the door, everything felt so easy and everyone's so helpful. And I remember we were just all shocked the first time we walked out on stage there, and everyone was singing along. I felt like I'd known everyone in the crowd for years, and it was our first time in the city. And that was just one of the best feelings we'd had. So it's a nice tradition that we've been able to keep up, and we're really grateful to be invited back.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. And it also feels like each year it keeps expanding too. Last year we did, was it last year or the year before? We did a kids show in between on the Saturday afternoon between the Friday night and Saturday night.
You definitely did it last year. You might have done it the year before too, but I know you did it last year.
Last year, no, I think last year was the first one. We're going to bring that back again this year because we had someone doing that to be. I don't know. It's not often we get to sing Wookiefoot songs to a room full of like 3 to 5 year olds and have to bounce off the walls and sing it in costumes, and it was so much fun. Yeah,
that was super fun.
It really just keeps that whole family vibe, and the fact that he throws it like an indoor festival where there's music on different levels and there's workshops and the whole community's involved, and you're actually performing in an art space. I don't know, it's just ideal. I wish they were all like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I super love like this festival. It's like really, it is like an indoor festival. It definitely has that vibe, and that's something I've spoken with other people about it, and in different interviews, just about the community there and the space that's held there, and like it's kind of like our own little tribe. Like a lot of us have known each other for a while too, so it's like a really, I don't know. There's definitely like a family that's there. So it's cool to get to share that and to actually get to have that, So
yeah, that's rare. And I sometimes wonder how many of the people part of the community know how rare that is for the different cities we play in. They each have their own kind of unique communities, but there's something really tight knit and unique about that one. I just hope that people can really appreciate how rare that is.
Yeah, I definitely do. I know a number of people that do as well, and I know Eric does. That's why he puts all the work into it that he does. To I don't know. He's made a lot of connections through these different events, and does a lot to keep the community together. So that's you know, the whole reason that we're on the call. You know, I had helped him with the Darkening the Sun interviews and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's just been he's just helped a lot of people out, and I think that's what
he's so much working. And I really appreciate his vision.
Yeah, me too. So what are some of your favorite things about Fallout?
I think like we were saying, I say first and foremost that it just doesn't feel like you're in a bar. That is like, I don't mind playing bars. It's okay. I know it comes with the territory. But we definitely prefer the outdoor festivals. And when it's wintertime and you can't do that anymore, you end up in clubs and bars, and there's just an energy to them that's just not quite as inspiring. And you walk into an artistic space, and then like we were just talking about the community vibe coming into that you feel like this isn't just one person's vision. This is the whole community's vision that's creating that space and allowing that opportunity to get on stage in the middle of all that art and all the workshops. And then for some reason we get lucky enough to be headlining that. It's like, I don't know, it's an amazing experience. It's hard to put in words. It is.
It's I think we're super lucky to have you guys up there too. It makes it all just fit together perfectly. So, and you guys have such a good message behind your music that a lot of our community resonates with very deeply.
That's awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So one question I have for you is what type of change do you think we can accomplish with music?
What can we accomplish with music?
Yeah. What kind of change do you think we can accomplish with music?
That's a good question, actually. There's a lot of times you're at music festivals and you feel that whole community get together and you're like, are we just in our own little bubble, like creating this vibe to feel good, but we're not really actually doing the world? And I started feeling a little guilty about that. And then I started realizing, no, this carries on. These ripples that go forward from those gatherings. In fact, there's this wonderful quote I saw in a documentary about the Dalai Lama. And they asked him, they said, what does the world need to do? And he no joke, he goes, more music festivals. So the Dalai Lama saying that, there's something to it. I think there is a power in music, without trying to sound pretentious here. I feel like there is a power in music. I know it affected me in my youth, and hopefully it continues to go forward from us too. But it's that you can say things in music. You can communicate through sound and poetry, ways that there's the political discourse in this country is so insane right now. And the information generation, misinformation generation is just lost in all the fake news and all their own little bubbles on Facebook. It makes you feel like you're just shouting into, not a void, but you're just shouting into complete static of everyone talking over each other, and you can't even do research to find the truth anymore. It feels like poetry has an ability to slice through where normal conversation doesn't. It's more like you're talking in a dream space, and that's what I appreciate about it. And I like to think that's at least what we're trying to do. I don't know if we always accomplish it, but it's what part of what we dig into for our inspiration are more, what do you call them, the old school poets like Rumi and Hafiz and Zhuangzi, and people that speak more in a myth language and not so literal, and not necessarily just from the personal experience either, but from kind of broader, simpler truths. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Kind of babbling here, but I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And that's, I find that really interesting in the music. It comes from inside. So it's kind of like, it's really, in a way, it's almost like hard for it to really be wrong in any way at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just how you feel, and it's just your perspective. And yeah, we can put it in a lot of different forms, but you're singing it and it's coming out of you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
one of my favorite ways to write is, we don't do this all the time, but one of my favorite ways to write is to read some of these really ancient poems and get inspired by them and try to make modern translation of what I feel is the essence of that poem. So it's both coming from, it's not just my personal experience, but I like kind of fuse my personal experience with what really strikes me from some of these great poets, and retranslate the story to a modern version of it. And that process to me is like the most rewarding, I feel like, in the studio, is that kind of writing.
Yeah, I like to do that kind of writing too. And I used to write more lyrics before, like much more along those lines. Like I used to read a lot more like the Tao and Tibetan Book of the Dead, Zhuangzi, and a bunch of different. I was like studying Chinese poetry in college for a while, so I was starting to write a lot like that, and kind of in koans, and that's really fun to kind of reinterpret kind of what they're saying about what's relatively nameless, you know.
Right. And it's amazing with those writers, like you read Zhuangzi now, and I know it's 2,500 years old, I believe, and it's still really funny, and it really cuts.
It totally still applies.
It'll speak more to me about the state of the world and the political situation than like someone writing today. And I'm like, that is just mind blowing. Then you're like, well, that's got to be true then. That has to be some sort of truth that can last that long. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
So what are the major challenges and opportunities do you think we face as a community? Like, you know, for example, like we're, you know, here in St. Louis, we've got our little tribe and our community, and you know, we're uniting through music, through art, and this music festival culture and all of that. And what do you think? What do you think that we have to offer as like solutions, or just being just to the world, and to I don't know, what do you think that we can do, and what do you think, what challenges do you think we will really face in trying to do that?
Well, that's also a good question. I'll tell you what it was for us, and not everybody has to. Everyone's got their own path to follow, but it was about 12 years ago, I bet. We started playing more music festivals, and we started to throw our own. We were throwing, at the time it was called Harvest Fest, now it's called Shangri-La Festival in Minnesota. And it was really fun, and it was rewarding on a lot of levels, but the more we started traveling around playing these festivals, the more we started to see how it was like the darker side of it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of addiction, there's a lot of kind of just belligerence. It's almost like escapism and denial and hiding from the world. And it felt like, to me, the mission statement was more coming together to ideally grow as a community and go out into the broader community and do something. And it felt like it was almost having the opposite effect. And I remember I went home to my parents after we just played a series of festivals, and was pretty depressed on the whole concept. And I was talking to them about it, and they've been social justice activists their whole lives. And I looked at my mom. I said, "Mom, what does the world need? What do these people need?" And she just said, "Service." And I was like, that's so true. And so then I think a couple months later, we went out and started a 501c3 called Be the Change. And through that, we through another festival called Project Earth. And that festival, we just took all the proceeds from that festival and started to donate it to national relief efforts and environmental causes. And ideally, the plan was, and it seems to be working, that the people that come support the festival would have a good time, but they would also start to learn about where the money from the festival was going out into the world to help these various causes. So we would pick causes. We travel a lot in the wintertime, so we'd go to Sri Lanka and Nepal and India and Cambodia, and we would meet people that needed funding, that had really good projects going, but didn't have the like international appeal of, say, American Red Cross or something like that. So we would fund these smaller programs and some larger ones too, but mostly we liked finding these ones that we could really connect with. And then we'd bring their stories back to our festival, and then we'd tell the community of Project Earth what the money was going towards. We'd take some video, show some pictures, and then they would learn about what it was doing, and then they would hopefully be inspired, and then they would go travel, and then they could help out more and get more involved. And it was just kind of this loop that was starting to form, and it's been growing. We've just hit over 600,000 we've donated in the last 12 years from that cycle, just going forward. And we've really been able to connect with some amazing people through the process, like Winona Duke and Patch Adams. Do you know Patch Adams from the Behind Institute? They did a movie about him a while ago. I don't know.
I've definitely heard of him. It sounds super familiar.
He's a clown doctor who believes all healthcare should be free. He travels the world just doing healthcare and spiritual clowning and healthcare.
That's awesome.
It's an amazing. If you get a chance, please look him up. And then you have Winona LaDuke up here in Minnesota. He's part of the Native American community up here, helping, doing a lot of the environmental work and social justice work up here. So we've been able to tap into these different communities through the whole process. And the nice thing is, all you have to do to raise the money to go out to all these different organizations is just come to a music festival and have a good time and listen to music. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to do anything, but you can do a lot. And then ideally it becomes a gateway to people becoming more engaged and participating. So it's kind of a long-winded answer, but the way I see it is I feel like the music festival thing can be a launching point if it's not just in itself. I mean, it's okay. It's good in itself, but I think it's better if it's a launching point into activating.
I completely agree, and I think that's what they're perfect for. Is that you have the workshops, and you can really have all the right people there at the right time. You know, it's mostly right. What we need to be doing is connecting to people that are actually in our immediate geographical area. You know, that's usually right. Who kind of like pulls to that spot at first, and then you get people that come from out of town, and they could be, you know, people that could be involved in other things in different places, but mostly you really want to get to know the people that are in your area and see how you can work together, and, you know, how you'll be able to pool your resources or just be able to, you know, open your hearts and wake up together and see what you can just do in your own communities, you know, just inspiring each other to just right. be who you are, you know.
And I think the workshop thing has been a phenomenal addition to a lot of music festivals. We've been expanding ours as well. And I feel like people come to music festivals with such open hearts and open minds, more so than any other location. You know, you're not going to go to a seminar with that open of a heart and mind, you know, and then you have thousands of people coming in just hungry for knowledge and how they can help participate. I really do see it as I also feel like my earlier, more cynical views of it have definitely been dispelled through the last decade of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, definitely more optimistic on the whole festival scene.
Yeah, but it's real though, because that's the thing, is it's real, but it's also like the bright side of it is it's so bright that it's like we should want to be able to go in and heal those kinds of things to be able to help it, you know, it persevere and for it to stick around and for people not to get hurt, you know, because there is so much potential good that can come out of them that, you know, a lot of people are coming there from those kinds of things, those kinds of addictions and those escapes. It's like a lot of it's people bringing their own, you know, stuff they're struggling through, and then they struggle to get together sometimes, you know, but I don't know. I think it's when we really, I mean, we're a lot of them are people are already activating and doing amazing things, you know, but the more of us that do it, the better.
Right. I feel like we're also disconnected now too. And it's weird because I don't think social media is helping. I feel like it's hurting, but I mean, it helps on some level, but it also creates a new weird cyber tribalism that has a lot of unhealth in it too.
Cyber tribalism, I like that. Right.
I feel like people gather under the trees in a field without technology, sitting around a fire. That's the technology you're celebrating. That's the screen you're staring into is a fire. And then they reconnect and they get back to their roots, and just the power of sitting in the trees together as a community. I think it's what everyone's craving, but they don't know they're craving. And then you get it and you're like, oh God, it's just a feeling of family and community. I live in a city and I don't feel that connected to the people around me. That's the price of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why we all like search for, and that's why for me personally, I'm so grateful for events like these where it literally is a space that kind of creates a family. You might not even have ever met the person or some of the people in the room, but it's just a feeling when you walk in the door that uh, you can't describe any other way sometimes.
Right.
It might take a second to get used to the space if you've never been there, but I don't know. It always feels kind of like home to me. So.
Right. Does you feel like you come and you fill up your well there?
Yeah.
And then you've got enough water to go out and you can kind of feed yourself and people around you, and then just until you make it to the next one community gathering and fill my well. That's how it feels. It's definitely both ideally selfish and selfless at the same time in a way, right?
Yep. But I think it really, another thing that I love about this one is like it's also geared towards family and towards children and stuff, and like that's how it's really a lot of it's for the kids, like us getting together for this kind of stuff. Hopefully we'll see these changes happen in our lifetime, but it's really about our kids. And that's one thing I was going to ask you is how has becoming a parent shifted your perspective on this culture?
It's interesting. It's shifted in ways that you can't quite anticipate. I've just absolutely loved being a father, and definitely the coolest thing I've ever done. And every day has a new lesson in it. I feel like while I need to be the father, I feel like she's my guru. You know what I mean? I feel like she's the one that teaches me today. And she it's really nice to be very present in the moment. Like you have to think both long term. Like you're like, what kind of planet am I leaving this child? And at the same time, you're just also like, I need to get her milk right now. I need to get her a nap. I need to, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're very, very in the now, and you're also thinking longer term, generations down the line, further than you have ever thought. And I love that paradox of both those things happening at once. And it definitely knocks you out of yourself, which is great. You're more in service than you are thinking about your own needs, which is one of the, I think, most healing things that's ever happened to me. But and I'm glad you said that about that event too. That is kind of family driven. We realized a while ago that one thing that really we believe benefits a festival is to really bring in the parents and the kids, and we started doing that with Project Earth. And if I could do a little plug for Project Earth, tickets just went on sale.
Please.
It's the event is next June, middle of June, but we put tickets on sale now for families. So people with kids can buy it first, and then a few months later we put them on to the general public, because we know, especially around the holidays, sometimes it's harder for families to come up with money for tickets. But having the families there, I think when we first started doing this, we maybe had, out of 1,000 people, we had maybe 50 to 100 kids. Last year we had 600, I think 600 or 700 kids, and it just transforms the festival. I'm so excited to raise my daughter in this community and bring her to these events. It is both like a big celebration for adults, but it's also like led by the children, which just I feel like Fall Up's the same way. You know what I mean? It's like it's family centered, and it just changes an event, and I love the effect on it. And I don't know. I also feel like these different communities have grown as I've kind of grown into being a parent, and so it just feels like it's just very natural emotion of the whole thing. But yeah,
that's kind of interesting. Like you have kind of grown into like being a parent, like for your own child and in a way for the community, like as you've been in it for a while and you've seen everything pretty much, and like so you're looking out, and that's really important, and that's what people need, and that's what I've felt and from your music, and I know a lot of other people have too, that there's a really a beautiful message about self-love and just appreciating the people around you and what we can accomplish when we work together and we love each other. And I've seen the impact of your music on our community itself, and it's really beautiful. And just even these events, like how much it's brought people together. So it's
Oh,
just,
thanks, man. I really appreciate that.
yeah, you're most welcome. So I know you said you had some equipment to move or whatever. I just wanted to check with you on your time. How are you doing on time?
Yeah, I probably got a couple more minutes.
Okay.
Is there anything else to chat about?
Um, that's pretty much most of the questions that I'd had for you. I was going to see, if there was anything else that you would wanted to say, if there's like maybe a message you want to say to the community specifically, or any of your fans or friends or family out there.
I not much else besides just gratitude. It's been kind of overwhelming this tour. Like I said at the beginning, I'm always just, I try never to expect this to continue because I know that all life has changed and things, as soon as you cling to something is when it goes away. And so I just try to keep a really open attitude to, I'll be on this path as long as it makes sense to be on this path. But it keeps calling us back and it keeps getting more fun. And I just am constantly overwhelmed with gratitude to all these different communities for supporting us in this crazy mission, and to all my brothers and sisters that make it happen. Oh my God, we've become so much closer of a family through the years. In fact, next year's our 20 year of being Wookiefoot.
Wow.
And we're hoping to plan some real crazy shenanigans and some fun shows and a whole new release of art in form of video and music and everything. So next year is going to be a real big year for us. We're just gearing up for it right now, and it's really exciting. And it's weird because it's like sometimes you feel like, wow, 20 years, that's when you release your best of album and retire. And I'm like, oh heck no, I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like I've just got going in production and in performing with this group, and I think they all feel the same way. So yeah, really looking forward to next year and this weekend and the Fall Up Festival. So
yeah, me too. I'm super excited for Fall Up and for everything you guys have in store. So, but yeah, Mark, I super appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak with me and to talk about Fall Up and everything else. So
absolutely, man. I hope we get a chance to hang out at the event. Definitely gotta connect there. Okay.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Well, yeah, I'm super stoked for it. I'll be taking all kinds of pictures, and I'll be playing a little bit of music at the beginning with the drum circle. So I'm super stoked.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. And much thanks to Eric too. I'll make sure I give him his proper due on this because he has put so much time and energy into making all this happen. So if you see him before I see him, please send him my love.
Will do. All righty, brother. Well, I guess I'll let you get back to it. And
all right. Yeah, time to go lift equipment. Like
right, yeah.
That's not my favorite part, but it's a special piece. It keeps me in shape. So.
Right on.
Well, cool, man. It was great talking, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Likewise, brother. Have a good evening.
All right, you too.
All right, peace.